Hello, YouTube, and thank you for joining me. I do appreciate your time. It is late, but I do hope that I can articulate my thoughts so that I can express to you what is within my brain. Okay, I'm not sure how you feel about this, but I am happy about the pomp and circumstance of the ceremonial inauguration. I am surprised that I made it through it, but I am glad that it is over. I am glad that the jesters hopefully are either drunk or bedded down for a good night's sleep, and we can move beyond it. For it was nothing but drama and strict pretense, a ritual for the masses. And while I'm thinking about this, let it go on record that I have no idea beyond the historical significance why any black person, I mean any black person, would have pride in President Obama. You all know, if you've been watching my videos for some time, that I detest the taking of merits of an individual to boost the appearance or the significance of a particular collective. So we're not doing that. But I do acknowledge the fact that blacks within America, some of them that is, would be prideful of a man who looks like them taking office for the very first time. Very first time in America's history, or I should say in America's accepted history. Anyway, let's not get off track. Now, the first thing people may say when speaking about his presidency is that Obama was never meant to be a president for the blacks within America. And I do agree, he was meant or is meant to be a president for all American citizens. However, I do find it funny that being a man of mixed heritage appears to mean little, as he repeatedly ignores blacks. You would think that he would want to articulate some of the things that are still worth mentioning regarding the struggle that many blacks have within America. And I'm speaking of legitimate concerns, people, not some sort of romp on the road of white guilt. I can give a flying fuck about that. He is generous enough, though, to accentuate various stereotypes. Maybe I will touch on that in a future video. One more man that has made good use of his mobility while dismissing other people who have similar phenotypical traits, especially those within this group who do not share the educational or money resources that he has been blessed to enjoy. This makes it easy for him to ignore that class and race are inexplicably tied. He certainly does not strike me as the type of man who finds favor with the continuation of a mass movement. Any people's movement that fights injustice, especially if it orbits around the emphasis of economic and class struggle. The hypocrisy shines when you see him actively ignore, however, the special interest of blacks. Yet he pays particular notice to the wealthy, the homosexual community, and Israel. Humiliating as it is, Israel will not kick him a bone, but if you stick around long enough and you observe him closely, you will find that he will smother their collective asses with kisses. Okay, moving on. I am not going to enter into an exercise of acknowledging all of the wonderful actions Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. made during his time of leadership upon the road to social and economic equality. Even those with little understanding of the historical significance of the civil rights movement will have to express recognition of his impact within today's world. This said, sober reflections has brought me to a place of indignation. Why? Because it was brought to my attention earlier today that the King's family allowed Obama to use Dr. King's Bible. Now, I am an anti-theist, but I do and can appreciate the significance of this particular gesture, and it doesn't sit very well with me. This is a book that is thought of by some as authoritative. A book that supposedly contains sacred text, and a book that is reported to contain God's desire for humanity. Understanding what the Bible symbolizes to the believer, it is befuddling that King's family would allow President Obama access to it. One, President Obama's daily routine, his decisions, his words, his actions, appears to be in contradiction to the Bible's instruction. 2, he appears to have very little in common with King. Obama has defecated on the anti-war legacy of King. This man embraces drone technology, people. A technology which, when employed, creates distrust and fear around the globe. After all, we are prevented, we meaning the American people, are prevented from having a clear picture of what drone technology really means and what it really symbolizes due to national security. Maybe our government is running from democratic accountability, or even worse, independent investigation, or maybe they are practicing plausible deniability. We are fed the narrative, however, of the razor-sharp precision of its attack, yet it appears its strikes are indiscriminate. If you read the report generated by Stanford University's International Human Rights and Conflict Resolution Clinic, I think you will find my reasoning not to be hollow. Few appear to be aggressively addressing the harm beyond the physical injury and death that occurs in the life of the ordinary people who come in contact with this drone technology. Despite this concern, I am sure President Obama's rebuttal would be that he faces the world as it is. Fact is, people, our military should not be the police of the world. We should not be the one who is obligated to embark upon the task of global security while rendering countless bodies to different grave sites. This said, no one should wonder why many others have a mixed emotional bag that borders on the negative regarding our military action. King would never think of ripping into the social fabric. King was advancing towards the economic and class realities that keeps pressure off of the serfs, that removes the common person from the place of serfdom and moves them to something more advantageous to a healthy state for humanity. Obama, on the other hand, is not advancing towards that sort of collective reality. He is not a servant of the people. He, like many other former presidents, are mouthpieces for powerful interest groups. They come in, they serve the corporations. They leave, and they serve the corporations. It's a revolving door. Now, do not get me wrong. I know it can be a struggle between one who works for the common good or who advocates for the common good and one who refuses to be snared by the trappings of power. Unfortunately, deep examination is not required to acknowledge how corrupt Obama is. People knew when Obama was a state senator that he did absolutely nothing for blacks in Chicago. People knew that Obama constituents, no matter what their ethnicity, were neglected unless they were rich. When will the vast majority understand that Obama is not the answer to King's dream? How has Obama taken action to effectively destroy the threat of racism, militarism, and poverty? Eradication of poverty will never be his goal. It works in opposition to the existing power structures. It works in opposition to what he stands for. King has proven to be nothing but toilet paper for Obama. A great smokescreen. He was symbolically used, his family allowed it, as Obama quietly mocked Americans for the umpteenth time. Part of the problem is us. How many of us have considered ourselves competent to elect a statesman? How many of us have even thought, are we competent? How many of us have periodically considered the wisdom needed to manage public affairs? Or how many of us have considered the obstacles constructed by members of corporations and special interest groups and how it will wreak havoc on our various communities if left unchecked? Unfortunately, it is highly unlikely any president could measure up to King. And I am not speaking about this due to the exaggeration of his importance among the memories of the collective. We must remember that democratic institutions are constructed to pay respect for those worthy of election, not wisdom. Obama's measured words, lies, and dysfunction has brilliantly demonstrated the inverse of King's dream. The yoke is upon our shoulders to carry. We cannot trust politicians. We must move beyond this and understand that no matter the ethnicity of the politician, if they do not have an existing track record that reflects that they truly care and work for the people, then why should we expect them to be any different when they get into office? And why would we travel down a road where useless rhetoric is used to compare these two people? Can you not see that these two individuals are light years apart? Thank you for your time.